Hello my friends and welcome to another pick a card reading. I hope you're all doing really well. It's really good to have you here as always, and thank you so much for your love and attention. For those of you who do come and see my readings, thank you so much. Spirit is guiding me to do this reading for you, which is about what are your hidden talents, unlocking your hidden talents. And I think this will be a really special reading because this will tap into maybe things that you haven't seen before. So we have 3 piles to choose from. Unlocking your hidden talents. Pile 1, which is this green garnet. Pile 2, which is this red ruby. I do apologise if you can hear some noise outside. And then pile 3 is this Indira Gabbro, or Gabbro, I think it is Indira Gabbro. So you've got pile 1, the green garnet, pile 2, the ruby, and pile 3, the Indira Gabbro. Timestamps will be in the description box below, my friends. Unlocking and showing you what your secret talents are, unlocking your hidden talents. See you at your reading, my loves. Bye. Pile 1, hello and welcome to your reading. So you chose this green garnet. Green garnet is actually very stabilizing. It's also very good for money. I'm feeling like there's something to do with money, something about unlocking your potential in terms of abundance here. So let's have a little look at what your card is. Mortifacto, which is mortification. Interesting. And we have got 68 here. 68 equates to 14. 14 is temperance. It also equates to 5, which is the Hierophant. Okay. Mortifacto. I'll just show you the card. So, mortification is the decomposition phase. I think. I hope so. That's what I thought it was. It might not be. I think it is. And if it is, then this is a learning process and a sense of acceptance of the learning process, because we have 14 of the what was it, the temperance card. So let's have a look. 68. I'm just going to read it. Yeah, so decay, death and decomposition. Mortifacto is the great alchemical operation of darkness. What was once composed now decomposes. So it's this idea of like something that was together and now it's breaking apart. What was once presentable is now despicable. So something that, you know, and it's really interesting. It just reminded me of, I just saw the image of rotting fruit. So, you know, it was like really beautiful and then it's amazing and then it just kind of like gets to that point and then it kind of decomposes. And then also it reminded me of this thing where in my meditation, I remember one of the lectures, he said, or my teacher said, that sometimes we look at people and we're like, oh my God, their hair is so beautiful. But if you were to find one of those hairs in your food, you wouldn't think it was that beautiful. So I think it's just really interesting, like in terms of the perspective that we have. So this stage cannot be avoided. The underworld has taken us into the dark interior of its belly, and here we reside until spring. Through the natural process of decay, we descend into depths we didn't know existed. And what I'm really getting right now is the smell and the stench, you know. You know, we don't realise things when they rot, the smell that they give off. Through the natural process of decay, we descend into depths we didn't know existed. The alchemist soon finds Mortifacto is a stage of regeneration and sacred power where the soil is fertile and rich, offering nourishment for tomorrow. This stage cannot be rushed. The darkness must have time to do its work, to dismantle and to loosen, to free us from the old scripts and the stories. As we learn to surrender this great operation, the earth churns us and wisdom whispers in the dark. She envelops us, thank you, with grace and the promise of what's to come. So to go deeper, you should read the Egyptian story of Osiris, which is pretty gruesome. And it's really interesting. She says here, is there anything that doesn't end? Like truly? The Multifactor card relates to the Death card in the Tarot and the Underworld card in the Archetypes deck. It's a universal symbol, not to be taken personally. So this is not about you personally, in that you may smell like rotting carcasses. No. Halloween is a global celebration of Multifacto. Well, the Day of the Dead is a global celebration of Multifacto and the Underworld. If this card has got you down, flip the script. There is freedom and expression in every operation. So this, I think, is a very, very important card for you to understand, that I feel that if you are in a space where you don't feel confident about yourself and your abilities, that there is something here that's encouraging you to look beyond. There's something about you being able to break down a situation into something very fertile. Like, you're able to like break down a situation that may seem that it's kind of like lost. And then what happens is then you're able to kind of see through that. And it's really interesting. We're not told what kind of eye that is, but to me, I don't know what kind of eye that is, but it reminded me of a crow, to be honest. So there's something about understanding that decomposition process. Okay? Now, let's go and have a look at your other oracle cards, because... let's have a look at your other oracles. So I pulled one of these. Wow, the medallion. Oh my god. Okay. I'm going to pop that there. No, it's not going to work there, actually. Yes. Okay. There we go. That'll work there. So, yeah, we've got mortification. We've got the medallion. That's really interesting. This card, which I don't know what it is. And I think I'm going to stop there because I want to know what that is before I continue. So, there's lots of hands, all different colours. So that's really interesting. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Let's have a look. It is, and I hope I pronounced this right, Othala, I think. Let's have a look. Okay, so there's a little poem here which I'll read to you about it. Yeah, Othala, inheritance. Wow. They stood where we stand, and shouted into the wind, their whisper finding us here in the tapestry of the moments, past and present interlaced. The echoes bind us together, a bridge across the expanse of time. Okay, this is about generational stuff. I love generational stuff. I really do. Maybe it's because I do a lot of work in it myself, but you know, I do love it. So upright, translating to inheritance, Othala carries this energy in all its forms. This rune invites us to honour how he came to be, what raised us and what continues to shape us. When I think of Othala, this is the person who wrote it. I think of the things that leave their imprint on us. Of course, that is the family that raised us, but also the land we grew up on, our ancestors, and the land that they grew up on too. It is the strengths and gifts we have inherited, the inalienable qualities that have woven themselves through generations. It is the wounds and the traumas that have been passed down, as well as the harms that need to be rectified, the pain that needs to be transmuted. You know, we see so much about like the whole thing of healing generational trauma, but we do forget about the benefits, you know. And I think what's going on here is that I think you may have a talent for helping people heal from generational wounding. and being able to embrace their gifts. I think that's beautiful. That's stunning. Pile 1. How funny. How funny. And I resonate with pile 1 a lot, usually. And I just said, oh yeah, I like, you know, I think like dealing with this kind of stuff is very close to my heart. So it's interesting. So I think you do. I think you have like something about it, and you take a really grounded approach to it, because garnet is the lowest chakra stone. So it's the root chakra stone, but because it's green, it also attributes to the heart chakra as well. So Othala also holds the new parts of ourselves that have awoken due to our current relations. Our chosen family lies within Othala, the bonds that have been forged, and the impact that these relationships have had on us. It is our dedication to these new practices and traditions, ones that our ancestors have not yet seen, that will leave a footprint for future generations. Othala is a rune of kinship. It asks us to acknowledge the connection we have to all things and be in the right relationship with those things. It is tending to the land we live on, acknowledging its place as an ancestor in our life, also honouring ancient stewards of that land. Othala is both physical and spiritual, and encourages one to define their family, kin and ancestors, and to take care of all within those spaces, to be truly in reverence to them, and to be in deep gratitude for all the ways that they have made on you. For all the ways they have made on you. So there's something about community here as well, and that's why we've got these hands around. Now let me just have a quick look at the medallion. So that's 59. 59 equates to, again, 14. So they are both temperance, basically. Interesting. Both cancelling down to number 5, which is the Hierophant. So I don't know, you might be some teachers. And the thing is with this kind of stuff, right, is that, you know, we don't, I'm looking in the wrong book. We don't really know how, you know, this is quite uncharted territory when you're talking about trauma. I mean, I've just been reading a whole thing about saying how trauma doesn't exist. Now, that's up for debate. I don't know if I entirely agree with that. Trauma exists, but it's about the way that we react to it. But anyway, that's a different thing. I'm not going to go down that route. But let me just see if I can find this. Come on. 59. Oh, I've gone way too far. Where are you? Oh, is it 59? It should be 59. That says 59 to me. I think it does. I hope so. Yeah, 59. There we go. So the passing of sacred objects is the ancient ritual within families. So we've got this whole generational thing, man. Between lovers in tribes across the globe, and between families. We give jewels, treasures, keepsakes, mementos of all kinds, some of great material value, others that hold emotional resonance, and still others with both. Yet when these gifts are bestowed upon us, it is important to recognize that they may bind us to an unspoken agreement or a promise. When the medallion card appears, be aware of how the objects you hold dear may be embedded with unconscious energy or expectations. Materials hold consciousness, and it's time to reconcile the vibration of those objects around you. What do you covet and collect? Why? Is there an object you have held on to for years that you are ready to release? Perhaps it is time to reach for the medallion that aligns with your deepest values. So, there's something about you being able, ooh, that's nice, ancient scarab amulets. There's something about you being able to like tap into the ancient power of the wisdom of your ancestors. There's something about you working with that energy. And there's some, I mean, some of you may even be mediums. You may be mediums, you may be able to contact the dead, you may be able to like converse with the dead, you may be, you know, able to converse with spirit guides, ancestors in particular, because this is about past. You may have a deep connection with your ancestors as well, with your ancestors, and they may have had some kind of ancient power or something. They may have, you know, been very good, I don't know, like, not just psychic, right? So, you know, that's all the clairs or whatever, yeah. But I'm thinking, like, the thing that first comes to mind is that my mum was a really good cook. A really good cook. I haven't inherited that. I haven't inherited that. But my grandmother, her mum was a brilliant cook as well. So, you know, I think, you know, it's that kind of thing. And she weaved magic with her cooking. I'm telling you, her cooking was very rare that something of hers did not taste nice. Very rare. But yeah, it was fantastic. So something like that, you might enchant people with your cooking. You might enchant people with your speaking. There's something that has been inherited from your ancestors that you take on. And yes, it could be like, you know, it could be your, you know, psychic powers, whatever they are, be it like, you know, be it tarot reading, or be it psychic dreams or whatever, you know, it's something to do with the ability to be able to decompose things. So how do we put that in a like kind of like context? Let me have a look. Maybe the cards want to tell me. Okay, these might twist, so I'm going to turn this up. Okay, so that's the page of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords or Nine of Wands? I think it's the Nine of Wands. Yeah, it's the Nine of Wands. Is it the Nine of Swords? Might be the Nine of Swords, I don't know. I don't know. Let's double check. Okay, Ace of Pentacles. And the King of Cups reversed. Let's just have a look at the other cards. No, I think that is the Nine of Swords. Yeah, it's the Nine of Swords. It's actually my birth card. You know, like everybody's got like a card that's assigned to them. Yeah, everybody's got like a tarot card that's assigned to the time of them when they were born, and the Nine of Swords is mine. I don't know how thrilled I was really to like know about that, but never mind, it's fine. I'll take it. I do worry a lot, so here we are. Anyway, so your power is basically able to remain a cool head amongst and be a supportive person for those who are unable to kind of keep their head due to their own kind of emotional stuff. So particularly when people or things around them, so for example, let me give you this example. So your best friend is about to do a big presentation, a big presentation that will get them, you know, a big sale or a big job. And then all of a sudden, their drunk parent calls up and, or they find out that their drunk parent or or a drunk person that's like somebody who is like close to them has landed themselves in hospital, and they are, you know, out of their own kind of doing, let's say. This is just a scenario, okay? you would be the perfect person to help them get a level head in being able to go forward and get that sale. And then they will come back to you going, I can't believe it, like all of that was happening and you supported me through that. That is the kind of thing you do. That is the kind of thing you do. You are able to turn a really shitty situation into something really fucking good. Really, really. You may not feel like that. I know that. I'm thinking that. I'm like, but you've got, look at this. You've got the Page of Pentacles, you've also got the Ace of Pentacles, and then you've also got this medallion as well. So it's almost like you take what you have inherited. It could also be the transformation of generational trauma. It could also be the way that you transform your generational trauma. Because, you know, and it is to do with relationships. And it's really interesting what I mentioned earlier about that whole thing of saying that trauma doesn't exist, because that comes from a book called The Courage to be Disliked. And in there, it basically focuses on Alderian psychology? Yeah, Alderian psychology, who's kind of like the third philosopher or the third psychotherapist, psychologist that didn't really get mentioned that much. So it's Freud, Jung, and there's Adler. And Adler didn't really get that much, like, you know, kind of, you know, say about things. But in this book, one of the key points in it is that everything stems from interpersonal relationships. Now, this has been something that I've believed intrinsically, like it's something that I felt in my bones. But you know, it's difficult to support the theory, and this book is very good at doing that. And what this reading is telling me is that from your generational wounding, and the thing is that I don't think that you can really understand generational wounding unless you've suffered from it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and really understanding how the buck stops at this point, you know, like going forward and deciding not to have children, going forward and deciding that this is not going to be the way that things are going to go. You know, it's like, you know, those big major decisions that you take in order to like make a big change. And what this is telling me is that you got handed something that you might not have wanted. And but then it's also, it seems like, and it's really interesting because you've got this medallion that is gold, and then you've also got this diamond, this gem in the side of it. So it's almost like people think that you're really lucky because you got it. But what's happening is that you've had to like go on this whole kind of learning journey with being able to be this receiver of this. Now, this could be even down to the fact that you receive an inheritance or something like that, you know, and then people, you know, they kind of like, they don't like, this is another thing I think, like people think that rich kids are really, you know, and the money does make everything all right, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, I've just seen so many papers and stories about young, like kids of, you know, billionaire families, and they're pretty fucked, you know, they're not, you know, that it's quite difficult for them. So I just think that it's interesting for you to just recognize that, you know, this is part of a generational thing that you're healing and you're working through, and you've been handed this thing on your plate and you didn't ask for it, but you're having to deal with it. And it's so interesting how we've got the Apprentice of Earth, which is like taking this thing from the earth and holding this thing from the earth. But then you've also got this particular Nine of Swords, which is very interesting. And the character is holding the swords in the hand, you know, all the 9 swords coming to the point. So it means that they're just coming to this one person, this one thing. So it really does feel like, you know, there's this generational thing where, and also with all the hands and everything, it's almost like all the shit has had to come to you in a way. And if it has, if it hasn't, this is not your reading. But it feels like you, group 1, you've had a shit ton to deal with, like in terms, it's a really heavy burden, I feel, because, you know, the mortification is not an easy thing to hold. But it's interesting because I would go as far to say that some of you feel quite comfortable in that space, you know. I'll give you another example. Like, I feel really comfortable. Like, as I said before, like I haven't inherited my mum's cooking abilities, but I can clean. Like, I can clean places where people probably couldn't clean. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of carried on into my spiritual work as well. Like, I used to work in a really, like, I've worked in quite a few challenging situations that, you know, to be somebody of the age I was working in those situations, it's just kind of given me the resolve that I need to, like, deal with it, and deal with quite, like, disgusting stuff. So I don't know if it's the same, but it just feels like that you have been subject to something that may have been, you know, not as easy to deal with as maybe with others. So, like, as not with others, but like not as others can. Like, some people might not be able to handle some of those jobs. And what's happened is that this is actually generational. Like, it really is generational. I mean, it's interesting, we don't have, like, you know, the emperor and the empress. So this is why I don't think it's specific to, like, mother or father trauma. This is about generations. This is collectively. So your hidden gift and your hidden talent is to be able to deal with, like, very heavy burdens, like, very easily. That's why, like, the analogy that I said about, you know, somebody whose parent or whatever, or, like, relative calls them up with the worst thing ever, and then you're able to help them deal with it. That's a very, very, like, precious gift. Not everybody can do that. And what's really interesting is that you've got the Two of Cups here. And that's what I was meaning about the interpersonal relationships. You're able to, like, look at how those relationships are affected. Like, you can see, like, and I also think that you get you learn from your relationships with anybody. So this is with, like, it's all actually, no, not with anybody. It stems from your relationships that are love relationships, and then they kind of, like, bleed out into everything. So that could also affect your relationships with your friends or close friends or whatever. But it's when you've got a strong bond with someone that you learn, like, this stuff, and you're able to transmute it. Now, you do have the water of God here. So I know I didn't say this is generational, but there is a man here, or a male figure, that doesn't know how to connect to their emotions. And I would go as far to say, for some of you, that this guy is the representation of the male side in your generations that was unable to connect to their emotions. And this has been a direct influence on your ability to be able to cope and deal with stuff. This coping, this dealing with stuff, like, it's like you really can see the shit. Like, you really see the shit, and you're like, okay, it is what it is. Now I need to get the gold out of the shit. There's actually a really useful card that is in an amazing deck by Danilo Sanillo. I'm sorry, Dan, if I said the name wrong. But let me just see if I can get the card out. But it just reminds me of this card. Danilo Sanillo, there we go. It's got this amazing card in here. Look, I'll just show you quickly. Haven't used this deck for a long time. I think it means that I should use it. But it pretty much says, like, about shit. But it's called gold. There we go. So it's got all of this poop everywhere, you can see. But it's gold. Eyes on the prize, opportunity, financial freedom, alchemy. It means something different here, but it's the same thing. And we are talking about alchemy. So I'm going to just leave that there, because I think it's nice. I might include that in the reading, actually. But I think it's quite interesting. Actually, no, I won't. It didn't want to stay there. So, yeah, that's what I think your gift is, pile. Pile 1. This is quite a thought-provoking reading. So let me go deeper with the tarot. Let me just clarify. So to clarify, in terms of telling you what is here in front of us, your gift has come from generations. It's almost like it's... I would go as far to say is in the expectation of what the actual generational gift is. And that isn't what it is. Like, maybe there was an expectation of thinking what the generational gift is, but then that gift has just kind of like started to rot away. And then when that gift has started to rot away, then we actually see the true gift. Does that make sense? If it does, I'll be really surprised, because I don't know if like I hope that makes sense. Because it's almost like you needed to let it rot in order to see what the truth of the, like what the components were of the gift and what value it truly held. There we go. There we go. Wow, that was a bit deep. But I knew it was going to be deep. I haven't done a deep reading for ages, so I'm glad we've gone a bit esoteric. I know, I like that. It's these decks, they're so nice. Okay, so we've got the King of Cups. Look, the King of Cups upright in the Apprentice of Earth. Yeah, you... Oh, God, this is powerful. Like, you're able to really... I don't know if you're, like, going to choose in your relationships, like... You know, but even just the people around you, you're going to make sure that that things around you have, you know, this balance, this male water balance. And even if you don't see it in the men around you, it's going to be something that you embody. Like, it's going to be something that you are able to not only identify, you're able to embody it. Okay, so we've got the Three of Pentacles here, Death reversed here, and then we've got the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, right. So, okay, now, Seven of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles, yes, this is a work in progress. I think this is something that you need to work with others on. And I think that it's something that we all are worrying about. It's something that it's not just the family that have to think about it, which they do. And I do also think that you healing this and working on this and embracing this gift of yourself will also heal other generations. Because it's almost like you doing the work is encouraging others to do the work as well. Because when you develop these kind of things within yourself, you do need to do like work on yourself. You need to make sure that you understand your triggers. You need to think about how different things affect you. If once you understand how things affect you, then you can like change it. And I think that that kind of reverberates through, even though like you've got Death reversed here, even though stuff may be dead. And what's really interesting is that Death reversed says to me about ghosts, you know. I mean, I wouldn't normally say it. Usually the Seven of Pentacles, Seven of shit. Loads of cards fell out. Usually I would say the Seven of Wands is ghosts. But in this case, I'm thinking of it like this here, like it's the undead. In shamanism, particularly in psychopomp work, which is about how we escort and make sure that souls and spirits of the dead are going where they're supposed to go. This card, Death reversed, is reminding me that these souls were not able to go to where they were supposed to go. They weren't able to die fully. Interesting, because also the Tower reversed in a way means that, but here we're actually talking about death. I really feel like this is like, and because it's in the sea as well, it's almost like things that like shipwrecks that come up, and you know, it's like dealing with the ghosts of the past, and you're healing that relationship. You're deeply healing that relationship. It's almost like you having this power to be able to, and I don't know how you're doing this, you know. It could be that you're just taking the time out to go to therapy and look at yourself and understand how your triggers work, how these things work within your life. It could be that, you know. I'm not sure exactly how you're doing it, but all I know is that you're doing it, you know. And this is your hidden talents, you know. These are your hidden powers, your hidden talents. And this is this is an amazing talent. Okay, so we've got the Seven of Pentacles covering the Ace. Okay. I think, you know, there may be a possibility that you might not be happy with what you've got, you know, and it comes back to what I was saying about the inheritance. So, you know, it's almost like, yes, we have this inheritance and we have what we want, but sometimes we want more, or sometimes we're not happy with what we've got. I think recognizing that we do have that, there is a tendency, or there is a possibility that you may have that kind of like energy. So yeah, just be aware of that. I need to take out one of these cards. Oh shit. There we go. I need to take out one of these cards by itself because there we go. I'll take this one. Wow, the Hierophant reversed. Interesting. Oh no, it's the High Priestess reversed. Okay, High Priestess reversed. Right, I see what that is. It could be, right? Also, it could be that alcohol was used to kind of mask certain things as well, you know, within family traumas. Because this God of Water and then the High Priestess reversed, it's almost like there's a denial of intuition. And it's really interesting because we have the God of Water, which reversed, which is absolute denial of, you know, it's like Poseidon on a really bad day. And then the High Priestess reversed is like the virgin that's decided to become a stripper. So, you know, we've got these kind of, this energy where things are very topsy-turvy, and it's almost like you have to go to the really kind of dark places in order to understand what the truth is of the situation. And I think that also comes back to what I was saying about working in really dark places. It's almost like you have to go there to those spaces in order to really educate yourself so that you know what the purity is of what you kind of have. Anyway, right, so let me pull this one, which is some animal energy. Okay, so we've got luck beyond fear. I don't know, Paul. One, I think you might have been very lucky in some instances. And your tenacity really saved you. So, yeah. Okay, and then we've got these two chakra cards. Let's have a look at them. Wow, both crown chakra. Guidance comes to me in many ways. Tie a white ribbon to a plant in your home every time you receive a sign from the spirit realm. Well, I couldn't do that because my plants would be completely covered. And then we've got I'm awake and I'm aware. Burn frankincense, incense to awaken your psychic senses and make a vow to be open to be signs from spirit. So this is recognition that spirit comes to you. This is asking spirit to communicate with you regularly. I think this is about acceptance of this talent. I think you need to communicate with your ancestors. It doesn't matter if you're not a medium or anything like that, but I think it will be important. You can contact them through messaging, through meditation or anything like that. There's lots of ways that one can kind of, make sure that they can, they can contact their past loved ones. And they do. If you speak to them, they will contact you and they will talk to you. So set some time and converse with them and find a way that you can communicate with them on a regular basis, because that will strengthen your talent to be able to kind of see beyond what seems like shit, Do you know what I mean? Like, and it may be that also, you know, you might, it could be either two ways, like two things. You could have been either very, like, getting down because, like, you see that things are shit, or you could have always had, like, a talent to kind of see the bright side in things in a realistic manner, you know? Because the situation that I described earlier is not a situation that's easy to navigate, because that person just might tell you to fuck off and say to you, like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like, how can you make me feel comfortable in a time when this has happened and I need to do this presentation? But whereas, like, you're able to, like, find the nuance and the balance so that they feel supported enough to be able to, like, keep on stepping forward and doing what they're supposed to be doing, even though they've got these tragedies that occur. So it's a very fine thing, you know, it's not an easy thing to do. So yeah, when you communicate with your ancestors, they can help you to become even more aware. And not only that, you have their backing, you have their support. And when you have their support, that just makes you feel even more powerful about what it is that you are there to do. I really hope that that's clear. What your hidden talent is seeming like is that you are able to transmute and alchemize your ancestral gifts, basically, into this thing where you are able to be very supportive and helpful in situations which are really shit. So, you know, where basically everything is breaking down. So you're able to pull it together. That's what it seems like. Okay, this is to close out the reading. Right, every day I choose to align with my body. Wow. Every day I choose to align with my body. That's an amazing card. Because, you know, the body decomposes, right? And our spirit remains alive. So it's really interesting. It's almost like you understand truly that you're not this body. You know, it's not just the body. It's everything. It's all the components. But essentially you are the life of your body. You are the spirit. Wow, part one. That was fucking fantastic. I hope you enjoyed that reading. I really liked it. It was amazing. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do share with anybody who you think might like the reading. Comment, let me know about your thoughts. But otherwise, my darlings, have a wonderful morning, evening, night or day whenever you're choosing to watch this. And remember what a beautiful gift that you have and a hidden talent that you have. Remember, honesty is always key. Bye. Pile 2, hello and welcome to your reading. So you chose this beautiful ruby, which was given to me as a gift. Yeah, it's massive. Can you see? It's really nice. It's kind of indicative of your power. I feel like there's something very ancient, because whenever I use this ruby in my readings, I always notice the record keepers that are on here. The record keepers are like almost like the rings on a tree, which allow you to kind of just, it's almost like the etching and the growing of the stone. And obviously, like crystals, they take a little bit longer to form. I don't know actually if they take longer to form, depending on what type of crystal it is. But like, you know, this kind of gives you an idea of how the crystal is forming, what it actually means. Some people say that it's like similar to the Akashic records in terms of the stone, the records of the stone. So yeah, I mean, this stone is known as a record keeper. So there could be something about you being able to access past lives on an esoteric level with hidden talents. You may be able to connect past lives. You may be a regression therapist or something like that. There's something there which is kind of like burning in terms of a talent in that respect. So let's have a look at what your card says. Wow, the Azure Temple, the Azure Vault. This is the space where like anything and everything can happen. It's almost like the kind of it's the space like where the chrysalis becomes the butterfly, the kind of unknown space. And that's 54. So let's just have a quick look at what it says. 54 equates to 9. 9 is the Hermit. So let's have a look what it says here. The Blue Temple, celestial realm, the imagination and expansiveness. Welcome to the Blue Temple, the home of alchemical imagination. You have entered a space of new depths, new possibilities. The inner eye opens and you become willing to see in a new way. To understand this card, one must study the blue itself. It is the celestial color of the sky, the ocean, the peacock's tail. Though potent, blue slips away. Through this colour, our imagination threads together the experiences, both grim and glorious. Think blue films and blue ribbons, and the halls of heaven and the harrows of melancholy. We are taken into the depths of mood, of tone, and of the rhythm of the blues. Love it. The eternal mystery of blue will only deepen as we study it, and this is precisely the point. Leave behind the cerebral. Cloak yourself in the sapphire robe and sit quietly in the vault of mysteries. I love that. Oh my God. So what the fuck does that mean? Many people dismiss the azure vault as nonsense. Don't worry about them. Stay tuned to your own attendance to this sacred place and notice how you feel there. Once in a blue moon is a significant phrase. If the Blue Temple card shows up and the moon card appear together, take note, this is unlikely, the most likely. The unlikely is the most likely. I love that. Look at surrealist and Dadaist works and let your imagination roam. Earth as the azure vault. Wow. Okay. I like that, Earth as the azure vault, because when we think about, you know, that it wasn't a poem, it was like a little... I don't know what it was exactly. I think it is a poem that Carl Sagan did about the pale blue dot. So that's definitely resonant with the Azure Vault and the Azure Temple. So essentially this is a place where the imagination is allowed to come forth and allowed to give what it's supposed to, or give, not even what it's supposed to, just, you know, you give it the space to be able to create something quite amazing. It's almost, it's a bit more pregnant than the void, because the void would be a space that is almost like it's sucking, whereas this is more incubating. The blue is more, you know, it's like a chamber of possibility. So let's have a look. What is my pile 2's hidden talents? You know, there's something I always feel with pile 2. Most of the time I do feel like a Cancerian vibe, which for me would be very Azurian. But then you also have Aquarian, I would say, because of like the creativity. Yeah, Aquarian, the blues, you know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but just that creative vibe. And I thought I'd start off with this deck, which is the Mermaid deck. So let's have a look. Can you tell me what my pile 2's hidden talents are? What are my pile 2's hidden talents? Okay, you've got a lot of hidden talents, pile 2. By the looks of things. Hidden talents in my pile 2's. Thank you, that's great. Okay, so we've got these two. Okay, we've got 3 there. 3 that have turned up like that. Okay. I'll see whether or not I'll take them, actually. So let's start off with these 2. Wow, okay, so we've got the Lovers and the High Priestess reversed. Okay, I'm not going to take those ones because I need more definitive answers, I'm afraid. So you help people who are lacking in their intuition. You provide a safe container. Okay, we've got 6 here. I'm not going to take those. Sorry. You need to be more specific, Spirit. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take it. I've got boundaries. No, it's giving me 4. It's trying to overstep my boundaries and I'm not having it. Sorry, Spirit. You have to give me 3 cards because I can't read more than that. Thank you. Okay, so we've got the Queen of Pentacles. We've got the Knight of Wands, and then we've got the Five of Swords. Wow, okay. So, you know what? I think you might be, on some level, you might be a kind of like think tank person. So it could be that you are able to think about problems and think about ways of solutions of problems that, you know, you thinking outside the box, you know. The Azure Vault kind of reminds me of a flotation tank as well. The ability to kind of like, you know, step aside and leave things. And I don't know, I think you might be, and I mean like leave things and then things arise in terms of like an actual idea or a solution to a problem. Okay, we've got the Empress reversed. Interesting, we've got the Empress reversed and we've got the High Priestess reversed. Okay, you know something as well, pile 2. This is really specific, but it also could be that you know that you could be a doctor that helps people to get pregnant, you know, because you know, we've got the High Priestess reversed, the Empress reversed. It's kind of says to me that there's like this denial of female intuition or female kind of like influence. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles and we also have the Lovers. So I think you may even be like some sort of counselor that helps women as well. Particularly when they've been in a place where they've not been able to trust relationships, men, just the male sides of their lives. You may even be someone who kind of, I think you've got a real special thing for helping women, because, you know, the fact that we had the 2 most female cards in the deck and they were both reversed, I feel that that's, you know, your hidden talent is being able to help women regain their femininity. And the Blue Temple very much reminds me of that energy. It doesn't have to be like that, but I don't know. For me personally, it feels like a very female energy. This Azure Vault is very High Priestess, actually. So it's interesting that we have it reversed. And this says to me that there's a denial of intuition. And I know that's not you, because like we're talking about what your hidden gifts are. So there's something, and I don't know, I think you might get paid, you know, you could get paid a lot of money for that. You know, to be able to allow women to get back in touch with their femininity. You could, you know, there could also be like there could be an element of like sex therapy or something like that, because you've got the Lovers here and then you've also got the High Priestess. But what I'm noticing is the symbology of the pomegranate, and the High Priestess reversed. I usually assume, I kind of like attribute that a little bit to like somebody who's quite promiscuous. So I think it's really interesting. The Knight of Wands is that very sexual, hard energy where it's like, okay, it doesn't have to be sexual and hard, but it's like kind of like that intense creative energy, which, you know, when we're talking about fuckboys, that's literally like the Knight of Wands or the Page of Pentacles reversed, you know. It's kind of like those people who are like just wanting one thing. And then in respect to like your hidden talents, it's about you being able to give the people that you know, help, the ability to see that for themselves and be able to dedicate that to themselves. It's almost like you help them to realign their energy to like dedicate the kind of, you know, if they've got some kind of, maybe I just don't care about things anymore, a bit of despondency in the respect of like relationships or whatever, you help to give them faith again in their relationships. You help to give them faith within themselves and give them drive, because that's another thing as well. Knight of Wands is very much drive. So it's, I think you help people to give that drive back to themselves. That's I think that's what's happening here, because those 2 cards would tell me that there's a lack. But it's only to people who've actually actively made the choice that they don't want to give up, you know? They have made the choice that they want to put themselves first, and they want to put themselves as a priority, and they want to invest in themselves, and they want to reconnect with their intuition. That's pretty much what I think your God, this is slipping into like life purpose, but like I think that's definitely like a really strong thing for you, pile 2. Particularly with ruby as well, which is crazy because ruby is like the stone of fire and passion and intensity and creativity. You know, it's a very Empress stone. That's why it's so weird that you got those 2 cards reversed. That's so interesting. Let's see what your oracle cards have to say. So oracle cards we've got, wow, the gem. Yes, the hidden gem. And again, oh, wow, look at that. Can you see? We've got 54 and then we've got 56. Wow, so Hermit to Justice. Wow. Wow. So it's almost like making wrong things right. If you're attracted to the earlier pile 1, go and see it because that was really interesting as well because you might have ties with that. But you're able to see the hidden potential within people, which is really nice. Yeah, you're able to see the hidden potential. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, let me have a look at some more. Now I might need the book for this, so let me just grab the book so that it's ready. Okay. Galdea. Now I know that this is, it doesn't like, usually isn't about reversals, so let's have a look. Galdea. So where are you? Oh, there it is. So, Galdea actually. A song or incantation, the healing seeks song. Galdea is a type of incantation or spell casting involving the rhythmic and melodic chanting of specific words, sounds, phrases, with the intervention of invoking supernatural forces, influencing events, or achieving certain magical outcomes. So, for example, like the drumming of the drum in shamanism, in shamanic cultures. In traditional Norse and Scandinavian cultures, Galdea was practiced by individuals known as Galdamen or Galdar, which were considered skilled practitioners of this magical art. See, I mean, like, this is very magical. I think you're deeply intuitive. That's why I was like, you must have strong Cancer placements, I reckon. Because I don't think you get that. But you don't have to. Okay? You don't have to. Or the moon, wherever the moon is. Because, I mean, you know. Anyway, so... The practice of Galdea was believed to have magical power over various aspects of the natural world, such as healing, protection, divination, and influencing the behavior of people, animals, and the environment. This card calls our attention to our voice in our song. There is so much power in giving voice to what lies within us. Our prayers, hopes, and intentions can all be magnified through speaking, singing, and whispering them. Galdea can be a study of history and be quite traditional. It can also be something you choose to get more creative with. At the heart of Galdea is inspiration, repetition. Give voice to your heart. So, I mean, this is pretty interesting because you could even be a historian. I do agree with that. And the reason why I say that is because we've got the Five of Swords reversed. Five of Swords reversed would say to me about something that you're not letting lie. You're not allowing to kind of like sleep. And then there's this kind of passion for it. The Queen of Pentacles is this like real kind of wanting to maybe possibly stick with culture and stick with, you know, kind of research culture, understand your home, your homelands. And then the High Priestess is to capitalize upon any kind of like where you see that there is a lack of interest in those areas and wanting to bring that to it, you know. where you've seen that there's a superficial kind of approach to these subjects, and yet, you know, you want to go deeper. And it's because of your kind of like deep intuition and psychic ability. And also the fact that we've got the gem here, that's a bit archaeological as well. So you've got this like thing of being able to uncover the past. I mean, I said that initially with the whole thing about past lives, and you know, this whole idea of the record keepers. So and I said about records, so you could even be someone who's an archivist or something like that, you know, but there's something about you being able to keep information, store information, so that it will be useful for future generations, you know. Or not even that it's for future generations. I would say it's because more of the beauty and what you love about it, you know, the love of and the passion of the actual thing that you're doing. That is beautiful, Paltu. I love that for you. That's so nice. Oh my God. You know, I've always been someone who's been like, I have no idea about Akashic records. I mean, I used to kind of look at past lives and stuff like that, and I mean, they used to come to me. There was a period in my life when I would be in touch with many past lives, but yeah, I kind of, it's not there with me now, and it's not something that I'm fully attracted to in terms of like, you know, Akashic records and whatnot. So, and archiving and record keeping, it's very interesting, but I'm not passionate about it. There seems like something that you really, I don't know, it excites you, you know, in a way that it doesn't for other people. So that's why I told you that little story. I hope you didn't mind me going off on a random tangent. Okay, so the lovers. Can you clarify the lovers for me, please, about my pile 2's hidden talents? Okay, so we've got the Apprentice of Air, which is reversed. The Apprentice of Air is the Page of Swords reversed. So literally, I'm telling you, you go to places, so things that people don't find interesting at all, you really find interesting. You've got the Five of Swords reversed, which is the Apprentice of Fire. So so you've got 2 pages. I'm telling you, you get super inspired by this shit, man. You like, you know, I don't know, the past seems to really light you up. You know, page of Wands, and then also the Knight of Wands. So yeah. Oh, okay, we've got 2 here. We've got the Hierophant. Wow. So you're just passionate about learning. You may even be like a history teacher or something. And then you've also got the Sun reversed. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, there's also like, I mean, it does kind of, maybe it might get you down that there isn't as much funding as you would like for this kind of like endeavor. Maybe you don't get paid as much as you wish that you did. You know, or that like there's not many people that are able, I mean, it's lovely that there's not many people that are able to do what you do, but you know, everybody's got their own style of what they do, even if it's the same thing. So, you know, maybe that kind of like gets you down because you know, obviously it's quite isolating. So yeah, I feel that even though it is it makes you really happy, there's big pluses, but there's also something that's not too happy. Or on the other hand, that you know, the fact that you don't feel very satisfied with the way that things are going within this kind of space where you are really good, that kind of spurns you to create that whole thing and to create the whole kind of environment so that it will be better. So inspiring. I love it. And then you've got the High Priestess. Wow, this is your destiny, Partu. Oh my God, this reading is so fucking cool. We've got the Emperor reversed. Look at that. Wow, so you had the High Priestess reversed. You are actually like, you know, you're going straight against the, you know, systems. You are actually breaking systems down. So, I don't know, whatever you are doing here, Pile 2, if you are attracted to Pile 1, go see it. But there is something about the implementation of breaking trauma, breaking generational stuff, like breaking generational bullshit. You could be somebody who campaigns for like, you know, rights, you know, the changes, for things that happened in the past, basically. It's really powerful, really powerful. You're amazing, pile 2. I mean, all my piles are amazing. I'm not going to be biased, but this is fucking blowing my mind. So yeah, anyway, let's continue. Pile 2. Otter, sharing with pleasure. Ooh, you know, I see loads and loads of memes, and not even memes, like little videos on Instagram about how otter is such a beautifully like it's absolutely obsessively, what's the word, like they need other beings, like they are so dependent, they're so clingy, they really are, and that's what's kind of like, I can just see this otter like kind of like roaming around you, kind of like wanting to hug you and cuddle you. So I think that's how you feel about this talent. You feel that this is something so wonderful to do for people. You may even put people in touch with each other, like maybe find lost people. You might do that. I don't know, there's something about you being able to uncover the past and being able to bring so much joy from it, and also being able to go into places where it's really not that, like, it's actually maybe quite like dangerous. It might be quite, you know, something like maybe going to another country and rescuing like daughters and sons or something, like, you know, something that it's that kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean? It's beautiful. I love it, pile 2. Your reading is just blowing my mind. Okay, so this is something that will help you in terms of your chakra energy and what you can kind of capitalize upon to kind of bring this up to the surface. You can't make this up, can you? I release past hurt. Take a deep breath. Inhale. As you inhale, focus on what's troubling you, and exhale and imagine releasing the hurt. But that's what you do. That's your hidden talent. I love it when Spirit affirms what I'm saying. I'm feeling such joy reading this, man. It's fucking amazing. Anyway, I'm going to close out your reading with this card. And it's really cool. I'm a bit sad because the people that make these decks, they've decided to shut down. And do you know how difficult it is? You can't get these decks anymore. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm really sad about that, but they are really good decks. They're so beautiful. Anyway, let's see what it says. Whoa! I am more powerful than I imagine. That is such a weird image. Can anybody tell what that is? Because I don't even know what that is. But that is cool AF, man. You are amazing, pile 2. When you open up your business, let me know, and I'll come and see you, because this looks amazing. Pile 2, I hope you enjoyed that. My God, you are fabulous. If you enjoyed this reading as much as I did, which I don't know if you can, but I really did enjoy this reading. Please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos. Share with anybody that you think may like this video. But otherwise, have a wonderful morning, evening, night or day, whenever you're choosing to watch this. And remember, my darlings, honesty is always key. Bye. Hi, pile 3. Well, your reading is already beginning to be some kind of anomaly. It's taken a while to start. Usually I would do all 3 readings in one go. If I can't do it, then usually it would be like a different time. But this has taken me almost 2 days to kind of come back to your reading. And usually I would think about the energy, is it been broken or anything like that? But no, there's something very strong that I had to do like in between. And the 2 days that I have had in between doing your reading, or the few days, has been very powerful. So it's really interesting. So this is something about you harnessing and realizing your intuitive power, because this Indira, I don't know why I keep on saying Indira, but in Indigo Gabbro is a stone. It's also known as Mystic Merlinite. It's originally from Madagascar, which is not too far from where my origins, or some of my origins, are from, because they're not entirely from that part of the world, but I have 7 generations there. So it's just like And I'm not from Madagascar, it's near there. But it's just interesting because this stone is volcanic as well. So there's some kind of sense of transformation that's going on. So maybe it's about you stepping into your power, ownership of your power, because and that's also been the theme over the last couple of days in between me being able to do your reading. So I think there's something that's contributing, something of that energy that is contributing to your reading. Sorry about the plane. And then here we have Chiron, which is an amazing card. So we have Chiron, the healer, the wounded healer. By the way, Indigo Gabbro is all elements. So, you know, and I think so is Chiron. Chiron, as I said, is the wounded healer. It is also number 11 we have at the top there, which is to do with the hermit. So there is some deep introspection, reflection that you may have gone on. I do feel like you've come from there. I don't feel like that you need to enter into that space. I feel it's almost about how you transmute the energy out there into the space. Maybe there's a sense of realizing like what exactly the hidden talent that you need to kind of like bring out is. Because essentially, you know what, there's that saying, I don't know who said it, but you know, the goal of life is to find out your purpose, and then I think it's the goal of life, like your life path or life goal is to find out what you're meant to do in life. And look at that, the hermit. And then the purpose of life is to give it away, meaning that we have to be in service to others. So yeah, there's definitely like that kind of energy that's here at the moment. And the fact that like it took me a while to get to your reading. Also, one of your cards I had to reselect because I couldn't find it. I was like, where did it go? You know, it's not lost, it's fine. It's just that I didn't know. It just got lost in the pack. So anyway, so let's have a look at what the tarot wants to say about your hidden talent, your hidden gifts, your hidden talents. So how many do I have here? Okay, I'll take these 3. But I'll put these ones back because I only want another 2 more. My darling spirit. Just 2 more telling me about... Thank you. And those 2 came up right. So we've got the 9 of Pentacles there. And then we've got Strength. Wow, okay. Queen of Pentacles reversed. High Priestess. Wow, everything's reversed. Oh, yes, because it's a biggie. Okay, pile 2, 3... Get a cup of tea, buckle up, or just, I don't know, sit down. That's so interesting. Are all of the cards reversed? A lot of them are. Okay, but not all of them. Okay, so your job or your hidden talent is being able to spot... Basically, you're able to help people who are disadvantaged. Now... You could be a multitude of different things, but what I'm feeling is that you help people on an intrinsic level. Like you help people. You could be a lawyer that helps fight for the rights of people. You could be someone who, you know, protests against, you know, certain, whatever it is. It could be the environment, or it could be, you know, whatever it is. Maybe you organize like these kind of like get-togethers. You basically empower the disempowered. You help people that don't have the power for themselves to be able to not only, like it could be, the first thing that came to me was like about women working in a women's refuge, or doing something where women have not got any sense of stability or like sense of independence, and you help them, and they usually have been affected by abuse. That's what it looks like here. It looks like people who've been like either in abusive relationships, or they have been in situations where maybe companies have abused them. It does look more individual than than collective, but it could be because we've got, you know, we've got 3 major arcanas here. And we've got the 9 of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, which are the mainly the kind of the cards of strong female energy. strong, not just strong female energy, but strong independent energy. And you know, when I see, yeah, the Queen of Pentacles is, I don't know, maybe you could even help people that financially they haven't been able to stabilize themselves. They may have addiction. Well, I don't know if it's addictions. They have weakness which has been exploited on by people. That's what this is about. So you have a talent to be able to help people who are in that situation. Let me have a look at your other cards first before I do the tarot. So this one is, wow, agape. Okay, wow. So agape is like one of the other cards. And what's the number? The number is, actually I'll put the number at the top. Oh, but it's reversed. Anyway, I'll put it like that then. The number is 62. So let me just double check. 62 equates to 88 equates to strength. Agape. Something very powerful here. You really are destined to help people. Really. I mean, all of the groups were, but this group, as always, my group 3s. I always want to be a group 3. Maybe I am. I don't know. Okay, let's have a look. Agape is devotion, unconditional love. What if instead putting yourself at the center of your spiritual practice, you put God, goddess, or nature at the center? How would this change your approach? Such is the energy of agape. It is alive when we are in awe and wonder. Our breath is taken away by the sacred force that surrounds us and asks for nothing in return. This card can indicate a spiritual initiation that stretches your capacity to love and serve. You sense the earthly and heaven and vice versa, as the earthly as heavenly and vice versa. Such an initiatory moment can appear in any form, and like a healing balm to the modern soul, it affects lasts a lifetime. The agape card may also suggest you reassess that you worship every day, consciously or unconsciously. What are you elevating? Where does the sacred ladder that you climb ultimately lead to? Wow. That was amazing. That is amazing. Agape. A deep sense of gratitude. Okay, I know why this whole reading took me a while, because this is everything. This is absolutely everything that has been going. Oh, and it says to go deeper, listen to children's choirs from around the world. Oh my God, my throat is just kind of closing up in like, you know, in emotion, because I'm just thinking about like children singing. Beautiful children singing. Let me just take a look at what Chiron is saying in this one. Obviously I know what it means, but like you know, pain is a great resource. It's the paradoxical nature that demonstrates that pain is a great resource, and it will guide us to our deepest purpose if we are able to observe it slowly, gently, and with support. You're being called to deepen the work and delve into the tender parts of yourself that require patience and forgiveness. It's time to let your painful experiences serve as a beacon of light to others. Chiron reminds us of where we have been and where that allows us to go. Okay, wow, that's so beautiful. Oh man, this is so beautiful. Okay, so pile 3, you know, this is about service for you. This is about service, about transmuting your pain that you have gone through into something that's really powerful. I don't know if some of you have been in abusive relationships or have been in relationships where you don't feel that you are financially, where basically you feel like you're trapped in a way. Or not even trapped, completely helpless, because it's weakness. So it's more to do with where you felt like you were at the mercy of someone or something else. It's interesting how we've got both pentacles reversed, so there is a sense of like addiction, weakness, and I mean usually addiction will be signified by the devil, but I don't know, when it's the magician it's almost like slightly cultesque. So there could be like, you know, that kind of energy where you are helping people who have been in situations like that. Okay, I want to do these other cards after, not yet, because I think there's some biggies. So let's have a look at, like, when I say biggies, I mean like that there's some quite profound stuff that's happening with one of the other decks, and I'd like to save that. So let's clarify this about your hidden talents. So basically this is about you transforming your pain into the gold. Spinning your sorrow into gold, as Adele says. So, yeah, let's have a look. Can you clarify the Queen of Pentacles for me, please, dear Spirit? Please, can you clarify the Queen of Pentacles? The Devil reversed. Wow. You transform. You transform into something so... It could even be like abusive women. Women being abusive, mothers being abusive to other women, belligerent women in the workplace, and you helping women that are in that space, or helping people. It doesn't even necessarily have to be women, but it just I just feel like there's a possibility of like women who who maybe kind of portray a false sense of security, and then they are manipulated by some kind of male influence or some kind of company or something, and it's something that is kind of desperately like against any sort of intuition that you would follow as a female, and then this creates like a mass lack of security and independence, which completely demoralizes and weakens everybody at every point. And you are able to help people, and I think this is because of the situation that you've gone through. The Devil reversed means to me that you are able to see and cut through the bullshit, and you are able to use that power to be able to help people. Wow. Okay. So then we've got the Ten of Swords reversed. Yeah, you see through the drama. And then we've got the Apprentice of Fire, which is the Page of Swords. And then we also have, look at all of these. They're all, well, they're not upright. They're in the best positions. And then we've got Initiation, which is the Fool upright. Wow. I mean, like I'm also seeing people that are able to help businesses that have failed. You know, it doesn't have to be as esoteric or like as deep as that. It could be, you know, but on the other hand, you could also help people that have gone through real big emotional breakdowns as well. You've got a really big power to do that. I can't take all of those, sorry. The Devil, Ten of Swords, Apprentice of Fire. You help people to learn new things about their situation in a completely different way that they never may have imagined. Okay, and the last card is Rebirth. Whoa, Death. I love it. Love this reading. It's so fucking deep. Okay, right. All of these readings have been really deep, actually. I cried almost in joy over Pile 2's reading because it was just amazing. And you are no less. So this is like, you know, you really help people to make a new beginning for themselves. Pile 3. You help people to see parts of themselves where they just would never be able to venture. And there was a lot of drama. You know, I really do think, I would go as far to say you help people split up from like narcissistic partners. Like you help them get away. That's what I saw initially. I saw women that were trying to escape from abusive and narcissistic families, and narcissistic, not just families, partners though, specifically. People who got involved in abusive relationships. If it's not that, then I think it's to do with like abusive environments, things where people are just, you know, it is cult-like. It feels like that. So on whatever degree it could be to a family relationship, it could be all the way up to a business corporation where you're trying to escape that, a bullying boss or anything like that. But there's definitely some kind of effects where you help people like that. And you help people kind of find, you know, a sense of themselves again, which they lost. You know, I have a lot of feeling of like soul loss here. So I feel like there's a possibility where you may help people with that kind of thing. Yeah, I feel that. It's quite heavy energy, but you managed to transmute it really well. What else am I getting? You may even be somebody who relocates people as well. This could also be like, you know, witness protection kind of stuff as well, I feel. Because we've got the Fool and then we've got death, you know. Nothing kind of says rebirth more than anything else. You help people that might have been, you know, in a place of such darkness that they really thought that they couldn't get out. You may even help people who like contemplated unaliving themselves, you know. Like that's how deep this is. And the reason why I say that is because we've got two symbols here that speak to me of being in the womb. One is of birth, the other one is of death. But then there's that whole thing of that transmutation of going towards life. It's crazy. This is deep, man. This is really deep. Let me see what your other cards have to say. Now this is going to be a book thing, so do excuse me. Okay, so you've got this rune here with the hands. Let's have a look at what that is. So that is the rune of... I was hoping I'd get it before I open my book. It's called Fehu. Let's have a look. So I'll just read you the little poem that comes with it. It's really beautiful. Before the whispers of being swept through the void was everything. That was enough. And from this great plenty were all things born, where all things are born, and where all things return, it remains unchanged. Wow, okay. So the abundant void that nourishes life. Interesting. So abundance, luck, circulation of wealth, primordial nourisher. Fehu, which means cattle, is a rune of resource, and while Fehu directly translates to the word cattle, it is often regarded as the rune of wealth. It is beyond our narrow-minded interpretation of wealth. Interesting how I said interception. Fehu can be a physical, emotional, spiritual, or energetic resource. It is the will within us that pushes us forward, the creativity that dreams us to be born, that dreams to be born, and the helpful spirits that join us in nurturing the growth of our worlds. The energy of Fehu is like one of motion. In the nomadic periods, the cattle was the marker of wealth. Like cattle being herded in motion, Fehu needs to be in motion as well, and that movement frees up the resistance and allows luck to find you prosperity and find you and prosperity to grow. Okay, so what I'm getting from here is that whatever pain that you had previously from your own relationships, it's actually really, or whatever experience that you went through, it's absolutely imperative that you pass this on, because it's actually your destiny to like do this work, and also you're going to be very successful from doing it. So this kind of, it's about wealth, but everything needs to be in balance, and you need to continue to keep on like flowing with the flow of energy. We've got the diamonds here. They symbolize how we must embrace the ebbs and flows in resource. So letting stuff go, letting stuff come back, you know, and earning stuff. So I don't know, like, some of you may be wondering whether or not this is a right thing to do. Maybe you're wondering whether or not, you know, this is whatever path you're thinking about, like, going into. Maybe you're wondering whether or not it's the right thing to do. I think it is. But there's something about your egoic self that needs to kind of allow yourself. This is the middle of the day. Why the hell I'm yawning, I have no idea. So clearly I had to release some energy for you. But yeah, there's something, and I've slept really well. So there's something about being able to, like, release energy so that you can take more in. Release, take in. Keep the cycle going, you know? Keep the cycle going. You've got, you know, birth, death, birth, rebirth, you know. You've got a lot of stuff that is going around in cycles. So there's something about you being able to help other people. It could even be that you also help people give birth. Quite literally. I mean, to be honest, like, I didn't see that, but it could be. It could be you help people to give birth to, like, certain ideas. But then that would come under the whole thing of you being able to help people start again, you know. So let me have a look at this card here. Okay, so appreciate the journey. Imagine a ball of red light arising from your root chakra, calling you to pause and enjoy the moment. Appreciate the journey. So I don't know, maybe some of you are thinking about, like, the end game and the end result. And I think there's something about you understanding, like, what you've been through really creates who you are. It creates the energy of who you are and what you're doing and what you want to do. So go with it. And then we have owl. Wow, wisdom. I love that. I've been looking up owl medicine recently, and, you know, one thing that really kind of struck me was that the ability for owl to be exceptionally silent. So a pigeon will, like, fly across somewhere and you'll hear it flapping its wings, but an owl, you won't even know that it's flown across because they are so silent. They are designed to be ninjas of the night. So there's something also about you being able to be really quiet. I don't know if that's, you know, in general, but maybe you are able to, like, identify things. You may be a psychologist or a counselor that is able to really help people in a way that kind of blows them away, that they don't really understand, like, how, like, you could understand that about them. And it's because you've taken the time to, like, observe them, listen to them, understand how the situation is, and then you just kind of, like, go in and do your magic. So there could be something with that as well. But do appreciate your own wisdom in what you're giving to other people, because there's something big here. Okay, and also big that you're doing for other people. We have 2 cards here. So to close out the reading, every day I find moments where I can cultivate self-acceptance. Okay, so what I'm getting here, pile 3, is that there may be, and maybe for you, because, you know, I find that whenever I work with my clients, I'm also learning myself about myself as a person. So, you know, appreciate this step-by-step kind of process that you're going through to be able to do this work. It's a consistent journey, and consistently, like, make sure that you're, you know, being grateful. And it's not about imposing gratitude on yourself so that you're like, oh yeah, I have to feel grateful, la la la. No, the joy and the kind of preciousness of, like, being able to do certain things. And I'll tell you, like, it isn't until, and I'm sure that some of you will agree, it isn't until that one thing has been taken from you that you don't appreciate it. So for example, like, when my friend stopped walking because he had a stroke, I started to realize how difficult it was, because I knew him as a dancer, somebody who'd been passionate about movement, and then all of a sudden he was bound to a wheelchair, and he couldn't move any part of his body, and all he could do was blink. So when you see that, you just kind of think, oh my God, you know, the gratefulness I have for the fact that I can actually move my own hand, that I can swallow. Something simple as that I can bend my knee at this point, that I can use my ankle, that I can do these things, you know. Just, you can find small moments of gratitude. They don't have to be big. You know, I think about my bed and about like the fact that I can sleep at night and I can sleep comfortably. Yeah, just think about things like that. And also the fact that you can cultivate acceptance of yourself in this moment, you know. Not everybody's got it all figured out, okay? Wow, I'm dedicated to speaking up for myself. Okay, so I mean, considering like what we were talking about with the first layer of tarot, there is an element of you having gone through some kind of space where you've been in a place of, I don't like using the word victim, but there's a place where you've needed like a lot of support and you might not have had it. So now it's like, right, okay, and you know that if you spoke up about something that you would be able to go forward and help yourself more. So now you're dedicating to helping other people doing that. And I think it's important for you to continue cultivating that skill for yourself, because that's going to really help you get further forward. So it's interesting, pile 3. It's almost like you are already on the path of doing this, but it's almost like you still need some encouragement in terms of what you're doing. Because like your talent is that you're able to help people on a fundamental level. You're able to help people that are in really shitty situations. I don't know how you do it, but you help them in really shitty situations and you help them to believe that life is possible again. And that is because of your own experience. And that's fucking insane. Love it. Love it. Oh, my heart is swelling with joy. Pile 3, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I'm really, it's getting me so emotional. If you enjoyed this reading, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos and share it with anybody that you think needs this reading, who might find it useful. But otherwise, my darlings, have a wonderful morning, evening, night, or day, whenever you're choosing to watch this. I love you, and remember that honesty is always key. Bye.